Hey guys, welcome back to 23 Minutes with Gyalpo and Dawa. So, we're a talk show from Ladakh, and in each episode we talk about our book and its ideas in respect to Ladakh. And Dawa, today we are talking about a book which is, it's a letters book, and the author is very much well known these days. His name is Yuval Noah Harari, and he's a guy who is by profession a historian?
Yes, he's a historian.
Yes, but then he writes about future as well as present as well. So that's something which is new for a historian to do, right?
Sure.
Yeah, for Yuval, history is about recording not just the past, but also the changes that is there in the society. So, friends, he wrote very successful books, 3 books.
Yeah.
The first one was Sapiens
and Homo Deus.
Homo Deus, and the last one is 21 lessons for 21st century. So, being a historian, he started from past, of course. So, Sapiens talk about our past as a species, from where humans came about. And his next book, Homo Deus, is talk about the far future of humans, how we have a chance to evolve into a very intelligent species called superhumans. And the third one, that is his latest book, the 21 Lessons for 21st Century, talks about very immediate, present of our world and his take on the couple of challenges that we are facing in today's world. So I'll open the floor for the discussion now. So
Yeah, so this is the copy of the book, like the 21 lessons for the 21st century.
Yes.
And the book discusses the whole thing, especially the beginning is all about the history. He goes back, dated back to the history, but not like the, like the far history.
Sure.
But he goes back in the beginning of 21st century, what happened. Because it's very interesting. The book itself recalls about the stories, right? Because he said that, we as a human being, we believe in stories.
Yes.
So we pass down stories, and then most of the stories are constructed, but then we are more organized and well performed when there is a stories, right? So he talks about the emergence of political system in the beginning of 20th century, whether it could be a fascism under the rule of Mussolini, Stalin, Lenin, Hitler.
Yes.
And also the coming up of communism after the fall of fascism, and then communism emerged with the coming up of Stalin, and also the Chinese Maoist rule, right?
And the USSR.
And the USSR, a big chunk. And then in the 1990s, and then the disintegrations of USSR happened, and then people thought that liberalism is the best political system that we have so far, because liberalism talks about individuality, free will, free society, freedom of expressions, but then this happens in 2008, right?
Yes.
The financial crisis happened, and then people start questioning, is liberalism the very best alternative system that we have, right?
Yes.
Because now, in this book, you all talk about something that, it's not only about ism, right? It's something that we take granted of those, for example, technological and digital era, but then there are beyond this thing. He talks about technological disruption, digital dictatorships.
Sure. So, folks, Dawa is actually, we just jump-started with the conversation, and you will he says, as a species, humans are the ones who could actually organize in a large mass.
Sure.
And the trick to do that was to have a very prominent story that people tell other people, so to organize it, right? So that, for example, we have had many political systems, as you referred, and in today's world we have big organizations like Facebook, or big companies. Those are all based around a story called mission of the corporations.
Yeah.
Right? What is your mission statement of a corporation? So that is what Yuval is referring to when he talks about political systems. And today, after the subprime crisis, which was actually a ramification, of globalization and technological, changes that we have had, our economical system, the continental, cross-continental trade system that we had, kind of resulted into that subprime crisis in 2008.
Yeah, and then he also talks about very interesting things like how this technological disruption is going to affect not only like our economic system, but also like if we talk about our work, right? So this will create like emergence of a useless class.
Yes.
And then like that, if we measure that the equality, right?
Yeah.
So this era would be like we would face the largest like equality gap, right?
Yes. So the string of discussion is, what actually changed, in last 2 or 3 decades. And of course, by technological disruption, the author is referring to the marriage between info technology and biotechnology.
Yeah, that's right.
And he kind of discusses his ideas across the platforms, and he emphasizes on this marriage of 2 different technologies, right? Until today, we have this idea that artificial intelligence or the infotech or the data processing power of our IT is going to dictate our future. But then he emphasizes it's not the IT itself. It is one part of the part of the deal, and the other side is biotechnology. When the neuroscience scientists and biologists and all those people would learn about processes of our body in such a detail that that could be then fed all the information of our mental or psychological or physical processes could be fed back to AI, and they can do a lot of analysis on it based on the data analysis power that AI harnesses and is going to harness. So that is where the the story actually has a very unprecedented, I would say, twist in human history. And this concoction of technologies is changing the very dynamics of the whole society.
The global, right?
Yeah, it's a
so it
global
doesn't
phenomenon.
limit to like one particular place or nations and one particular boundary, right?
Yes.
It's a boundaryless, it's a limitless.
Right.
So in such cases, like the combinations of infotech and biotechnology, then like we human, our existence becomes irrelevant.
Yes. So that's where this job angle comes. When technology will become so powerful and it will take up the human jobs. And they will not only take the human jobs, but they will be irrepressible. Humans, we have had changes in technology over the course of time, and we have seen jobs been taken away due to technology from industrial age. But then they were all replaced by another tangible job, right? But then, the author actually, what shall I say, is alarmed by the fact that, going forward, the current technology disruption will not replace, it will not replace a job that it took with another similar job opportunity for humans.
Yeah, that's because he talks about, like, for example, if we look at artificial intelligence and machine learning, there has these 2, skills that human doesn't have, right? Like adaptability and connectivity.
Yes.
So that's what we, like human and like AI and ML machine learnings are like irreplaceable. So we cannot. So by 2050, I mean,
that's the time frame. That's the time frame when he says by 2050 you would see people who are economically irrelevant. So they won't have any role to play in the building of economy as such, and the impact would be cross-continental. It would be cross-border. For example, somebody sitting in maybe like California, Silicon Valley, they can earn it like anything, and then somebody in Ladakh or somebody in Burma or maybe in, I don't know. some part of the world might be completely left over by the technological disruption and its
Yeah, so
changes.
in such cases, what we have to do is like, so right now the power is not about like the, like the political power. The power is the clarity is power, right? You have to make sure that like you identify the correct information, because in such like right now we are living in this era, but it's not that huge, right? So when like the influx of information comes, so right now even when we get information from Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp or anybody, we cannot identify the authenticities of information, right? So that's a huge question, and next time that AI and machine learning will determine your choice, right? That's very scary.
That's very scary. We have seen, I mean, in last elections, both in US and India, where the social engineering or social media engineering did play role in swaying the election results. And currently the political parties all over the world are, very much aware of the impact of social, engineering through IT. And going forward, it would be more scary because the term that the author refers to is human hacking.
Yeah, human hacking.
So I mean, what does it mean? People can hack you. Essentially, the author says that the machines will know about you more than you know about yourself, and that's a scary, very scary story for.
Like for example, if we like talk about like for example my choice. For example, then these days like people coming up like or opening up of their sexuality. So this like whole like AI will tell you whether you're bi, you're straight, or you're gay. So that's like, I don't know, that's dangerous, but then that's where the clarity comes and play a significant role. So you have to.
So the example he refers to is in this regard is you might be like surfing on the internet on your mobile anywhere on the world, right? In the world, and you do your social Facebook and all those things, and suddenly something pops up in front of you of a photo of a girl and a boy on a beach, and how your facial expression actually responds to such a stimuli.
That's right.
And also the technology could track your eye and its gaze is where it falls and for how long, for how duration, and after accumulating such data about your very personal time that you are having at home, for example, and it can analyze the data and straight away determine that what is your sexual orientation.
Yeah, so privacy no longer remains.
It is not, and it is something which was now very much which was there in literature in 1984, George Orwell's book.
Yeah.
When he says the big brother is watching you.
Right now, big data is watching.
Yes. So in George Orwell's classic book 1984, he refers to the government watching every action of its citizens, but then in future it would be big companies watching our choices and our very private lives.
Yeah, so those companies, right? So right now, as we talk about like emergence of useless class, and then the problem is also lies because like the ownership of data, right? It will be owned by like few data giants like Facebook, Googles, and Apples. So the gap is widening more. So it's like the whole world is run by like 3-4 data giants, and they will determine.
So I mean that's the policy part of it, of the argument, and that Dawa is referring to the political vacuum which has come after 2008. And Yuval refers to our society in today's world nihilistic view on political system. For example, the liberal giants or flag bearers like US and Britain, they have somehow retract their stand on liberalism, right?
Sure.
And now they're more tending towards a nationalistic kind of a view. And the way Trump is handling all these global issues, for example, peace or environment, climate change, and trade, for example, with its
And it could be
global
immigration as well,
or
right?
immigration. So these are all global issues which are being handled in a very unexpected way by the current world leaders.
Yeah, so and then in this book he also talks about like political challenge, right? Not about the national interest challenge like terrorism and immigration. Those are like one of a political aspect or issues, but those are not. But he was talking about at the global levels, like what problems that we have on global platform, like climate change is a reality, but people take granted everything.
So we are in a very uncharted waters in terms of political system right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and liberalism is it's good for people in their own boundaries of the countries. For example, they want to have physical wall. They want to have virtual walls in terms of virtual firewalls or in internet. They want to have trade walls. By all this mess that is happening between US and China in terms of trade discussions, right?
Sure.
So that political gap has actually made the whole world to plunge into what we knew before, right? Which was nationalism and religion.
Yeah, so that is the true concept that whole nation was built upon, right?
Yes.
And this concept is also constructed with the like norms and stories and all, right? Like believing that language brings all community together, and religion is also a passed down story, so there's no like authenticities. And at the same time he talks about, so we need in those political unprecedented political issue, we really need a global solution. So it's not about me being I'll play Indian as a role. No, so we need to act like a global citizen and global community. So that's what he was like really emphasizing.
Yeah. So for him, the current knee-jerk reaction that we had for this after subprime, crisis is not the answer, and we need to build, another story based on the current challenges of the world.
So that is pretty difficult, because right now we're looking at the US, like it's a Trump era where he is going far right? And the same goes to, for example, British, which like European Union, like as a global community, is a big example, right? And then Brexit happens, and then like if we look at the Central Europeans, and then like Western Europeans, the emergence of far right is huge.
That's across the political system, I think, and in that sense, now the political system of China looks, good choice, which was criticized by other earlier presidents of the US back in time. So guys, that is where Yuval picks up his ideas and directs us to the real challenges like technological disruption, and that is where the policy of all those regulation of IT and biotechnology comes in. And he thinks to solve our global problems as these to technological disruption, we need a global action. Right, and so he suggests a couple of solutions to this problem. Of course, the awareness and education is the first thing, and the current education system is designed to cater to the industrial revolution that we had.
Those education system is not going to work any longer, right?
We need to revamp it.
And he talks about like now, like so in education system, not only education but as a person, like so if we live in such era, we have to be adaptabilities of reinventing, as he said, right? We have to reinvent our skills, and then constant is the new lifestyle, right? We have to change ourselves, we have to adapt new skills, otherwise it would be difficult to live in such eras.
So the next generation of
feel bad for them.
would be they would be just almost running on the grind in terms of the changes that would come in their lives, and it would be a huge identity crisis for the people, because in earlier generations they had identity drawn from the profession that they kind of chose for themselves, or it chose for them, whatever it is. For example, a teacher is a teacher for his life, or
forever,
life.
right?
Yes. But then that is not going to be the case, in future.
Education literally comes from us, right? Even though we have a huge problem,
right.
So we shouldn't be scared.
So his solution was like this, currently the West is focused on the brain side of human psyche. So what it means is they are trying to understand, and they have understood a bit of it, the biochemical processes that goes in your head related to a particular emotion. For example, for example, anger will spark a certain kind of reactions, biochemical reactions in your head, and maybe love or compassion would give another set of biochemical reactions, right? And that processes could be fed into data and analyzed. Right. And but what he says is the quality of all those processes, right? For example, why a set of particular biochemical reactions lead to certain feelings or emotions.
Actions or emotions, right?
So that quality, for example, anger. Is it anger which is setting the process, or the processes which are setting the anger on? So that quality. Why is there this different aspect of quality associated with different processes in our head? So there he emphasizes that we might as well look at the quality aspect of our brain. We might also understand why anger, why hatred, or why compassion and love. And that is where he says that we need to drill from the other end of the tunnel, which is about understanding mind. Okay, so folks, Ladakh at present might seem lagging behind in terms of technology and education as such. That the West is right now going through and preparing for the near future. But we have the resources and skills for digging the tunnel from the other end of the site, which is actually understanding mind, emotions, and all those thoughts and feelings. We have this repository of Buddhism, where the whole tradition is life rich, and we are a society which is living the philosophy as such in today's world, in a free world, right? So I think as Ladakh or Ladakhis, we need to take that advantage and access that repository of knowledge and begin our digging from the other end of the tunnel, right? So the idea was like, West is digging from the brain side of it in terms of understanding the human psychology, and we can begin our digging from the other end of it, which is the mind side of the digging. And if they meet at the middle, that means we've accomplished something in understanding the whole psyche. And if they don't meet, then we have all the more reason to do the digging, because it means we, as such, as a human species, are as a whole, we haven't understood a very big chunk of mind.
So we have the resources, so it's all about utilization, right?
Yes.
Because now, if we look, he talks about how meditation is the solution. That's the reason why he started writing this book, right? He got introduced to Vipassana, right?
Sure. So he mentions in the book that it is because of the Vipassana that he went through that he actually sorted himself out and became clear-minded, focused, which is very much essential in today's.
It's very much.
A huge flow of information. And from there his this journey began, and he wrote very successful 3 books. So that is where I think is the very leadership role that Ladakh can play in near future.
Sure, why not?
And of course, in just 23 minutes, we can't do justice to such a big, huge, or overarching ideas that have been discussed in the book. But I would definitely recommend you guys to go ahead, have a copy for yourself.
Sure.
And give a read. And please write to us.
Yeah, feel free to write your comments, suggestion. Like, I think now the discussion should not limit within us, right?
Yes,
it's open
yes.
to the floor, and then please bring, and we can have more information and more solution. That
And as a global citizen, what is your take on the book? And the second thing could be, as a Ladakhi, if you're a Ladakhi, of course, what would be your future, actions or your plans? So it sounds interesting, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So I think that's a wrap for today. So I hope we do justice to the books, because it's such a wonderful book, right?
It's amazing. It's amazing, folks. It's completely packed with ideas.
Yeah, we really recommend everybody to go through this book, and then if you have plenty of time, and then make sure to read the previous two books.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, Homo Sapien and Homo Deus.
And even Dawa is going to do that.
Yeah, I'm
sure.
also going to read the two, because this one really talks about the present reality.
Yeah.
So that's what we chose it, right?
Yeah. So, folks, let's meet for the next episode, next 23rd of the month.
Yeah.
And we will be coming up with another book. And another very interesting book, and that would be turn of fiction this time.
Yes.
As per the promise.
Yeah, as per the promise, and we are going to touch like all genre, right?
Yes. So
that's why.
for now, bye.
Yeah. See ya.